Okay, we'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. We'll call the meeting to order. Public comments, citizen comments are limited to 2 minutes. The Planning Commission is not permitted to respond to any comments from the public per the Texas Open Meetings Act. Number 3 on the agenda, consider the approval of the minutes for October 14, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and take any action necessary. Do I hear a motion to approve the October 14th meeting?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 At this time, I'll dismiss myself.
The button anymore? Oh, wow, an improvement here. My goodness, that has stumped people for years. It's not come up here. Okay, let's move forward. Hold a public hearing and consider a request from applicant John Anderson to amend the eastern portion of PD two, Plan Development District Number 2, on 53.84 acres of Anderson Town Crossing. Amending Exhibit B, sub-area map use boundaries, allowing commercial construction area flexibility. Amending Section 4, architectural standards for facade, maximum length to 600 feet maximum. And 5, lighting, parking, and signage standards for entry sign location and height of that portion of the PD, which lies to the west of US 271 and contains the following property IDs: 7383 and 6565, owned by Creative Destination Development LLC, recorded as instrument number 2016048 in the real property records of Titus County, Texas, city of Mount Pleasant, Texas, generally located at the northwest side of the intersection of Rotan Road and West Ferguson Road, Highway 271, east of Lake Tankersley, and take any action necessary. And now we turn it over to Lynn.
Good evening. This is an interesting case. Most of you, I believe, have been along for the ride on various other portions of this particular plan development. I made a mistake. It's PD2, not PD1 up there, but it's the Anderson Town Crossing is a plan development that has been talked about for a number of years, and it's been in existence for several. This is another amendment. It was amended once before, a year and a half ago, to allow Krista to come in. And this is an additional amendment that will allow the retail area to be expanded, because there is a national retail chain who wants to come in and develop an anchor store for the entire development on the 271 side and on the property by Atwood. And they have some additional needs besides having to expand the commercial piece. They want a facade that's longer and higher and bigger signage than were originally called out in the plan development. So as you can see, I've got some information there. The apartments in the hospital portion on the Tankersley side are already underway, and this is just for the 271 side. So some additional details to kind of refresh everybody. Talked about the national retailer, but the commercial area that was originally lined out on that PD was in sort of in front with multifamily on the rear of that site, well, where they want to put the stores. intrudes into where the original multifamily portion was more than 100 feet, which was built into the original PD that allowed for staff flexibility. So we had to change the map. That's why we're here. That's the main reason. And of course, to change the site plan, the PD amendment site plan is a site plan amendment, which is a zoning case. We have to go through that whole thing just to move it, even though there really was no, it was a sort of a staff and developer decision on kind of where those lines were drawn. It's not controversial or anything. We're not taking all the multifamily out or anything like that. We're just moving it and making it larger. And this is a very exciting development for our city to have a national retailer of this caliber come in. Additionally, they want to have a retail building that would exceed what they had originally specified as 450 feet facade length, just because they're going to attach that building to another one, as you see similar in some of the larger shopping centers. So there'll be two big anchor stores, a main one and a semi-main one attached to each other, and so that exceeds the 450 foot facade limit, so it was expanded to 600. And then the signage size and height requirements of that tenant that has expressed the desire to come in, that exceeds the original size stipulations that were in the PD as well. They require a maximum 100-foot height, and they also because of the size of their sign, and each of those two signs will have all of the other tenant anchor signs on them, there would be a maximum of 1,000 square feet. That would be all the signage, not just their sign. So we're talking about some main signage for the subdivision. Just to kind of a little bit on this, we did look at the Lowe's sign, which is right across the street and on I-30, sits up kind of on a hill. That sign height is 80 feet itself. We measured it, and it is, I don't know, probably 10, 15, maybe even 20 feet higher than the site of where this 100-foot sign will be. So it won't be as if it was sticking up way high, because it depends on the sign height is from the ground that it sits on, and so where it looks like in the air is relative to what height it started at. So I don't, staff is not, we looked at it carefully, but it did not appear to be really a sticking point. So this is the area that we're talking about. On the left-hand side, of course, the 73, 83, 65, 65, that's the property that is a part of this, and circled in purple so you can kind of see it. The store that showed, that has the number 34013, that's the parcel number, or 340-139, that's Atwoods. And so that general area, that's the property that Mr. Anderson owns with, in his company name, that is the subject of this. Additional case history, we went through some of this. The preliminary plat, when it was approved, was 2024, and then most of you are here, and I brought that forward. That's in the red box. And we also have this site plan that came through, was put through for the apartment, and Chris has got its site plan, which is the purple triangle in that red box. In late, I guess that was 2024, and 2025. Just to make a note that any entrances have to be approved by TechDOT onto their roadways prior to final plat approval for all of the build out for this subdivision. So that part is coming, and just the area the major national retailer wants to locate in is shown in the purple box. Future land use map. Often we talk about our comprehensive plan and what their vision for land use was. And just as a reminder, this entire site is shown in brown, and that's a mixed-use center in our city, which means both residential and commercial. And this amendment to the PD is staying true to that. There is additional flexibility being built in so that the market will determine if there's more or less retail versus multifamily and residential in that portion of the PD, instead of being so set, so we don't have to keep coming back and amending it because they move something slightly. This is the amended site plan for the part that we're talking about, and it really doesn't differ very much from the old one, other than the fact that it has some preliminary drawings shown on it for the buildings in the green area, with the parking lot already shown. Those buildings are the retail, and they've been shoved back just a little bit onto the site into where it was previously considered to be residential and multifamily. That will continue in the parcel 23, and just it's depicted with a couple of cul-de-sacs in there to show that we're talking residential. That will continue, and there are pad sites that were already depicted in the first plan development are not changing along 271. The changes that are proposed, as I discussed, are the commercial area in the gold that just moved back slightly in relation to Atwoods. It was a little bit closer to the street previously. This extended facade length, in other words, you'll notice that those are 3 stores showing. They may be more or less than 3. It may just be 2, but it's longer than 450 feet. And the sign locations that are proposed are shown in the gold and red box. So we notified property owners where the ovals are. All property owners within 200 feet of the property boundary. One property owner has responded in opposition, and her property is on Rotan Road, marked with an X. That she was, and I meant to bring you copies of that, and I apologize I didn't. But she was concerned about the development along Rotan Road, and she didn't like the development from the subdivision. She did not, or from the development. She did not have any specific comments about what the amendment of the PD is. She was upset about the entire development that has already been approved and is, as you know, contiguous to her property, very close, is already underway with the apartments. We went out there today, and there's some framing going on even on the clubhouse, and so it's vertical, and there's a lot of traffic, construction traffic. That was her main issue. Her comments did not concern what the amendment is about. It was advertised in the newspaper as a public hearing per state law, and additionally, state law changed that there was a consideration that zoning case signs needed to be erected, and so Mr. Anderson put one up on his property along Rotan and 271 in time to inform the public that this public hearing in this case is moving forward. The staff is recommending approval based on the fact that the current PD in place has already been adjudicated, I guess, for lack of a better word, through the public sphere, and there are minimal changes that is compatible with the original intent and the development that's underway, and also, as I pointed out, the comprehensive plan, that there are available utilities that are coming. Christus is supposed to open first of next month, I believe, for business, and that utility line that was coming is almost in place, and there won't be any detrimental impact on any existing uses from this amendment. Any questions?
This is like 90% cosmetic. I mean, there's no substantial structural changes.
No.
You're moving a couple of buildings back a few
We
feet.
had to move those back, but once the map that I showed, that's hardwired into the zoning. And so if you change it, you're changing the zoning. So it has to come forward through the process to be discussed. The difference is probably less than 100 feet because the PD allowed staff to approve it if it was within 100 feet of the use change. So there was already commercial use in that area. They moved because the building's bigger than they anticipated. That's why, but they moved back into what was multifamily by somewhere around close to 200 feet, which was a little bit further than what I had the authority to say it was okay. So we brought that forward. The signage came up because they, along with other national retailers that I'm familiar with and have worked with, are very adamant about their sign. They've done a lot of research, and when they want a 100-foot sign, they want a 100-foot sign. And I know for a fact that I don't know about this one, but I know there are retailers that will kill a deal and go somewhere else if they can't have the sign that they want. So that was, as you said, is cosmetic. And
Yeah.
nobody had thought about it at the time that Andersontown Crossing went forward the first time. That I mean, they had sign, lighting, and all those, and landscaping and things like that in there generally, but there were no tenants. There was no actual customer wanting to come. Now we have one, so that's what the PD is doing.
Okay, I personally think, again, that it's more cosmetic than it is functional.
Correct.
It's gonna follow the guidelines of some of these major retailers, and as you say, they're gonna
Yes.
want their
Yes.
sign. I think it fits all within what we've approved before, and I think this is the first of many minor adjustments. That goes with a project this size. There will be other.
Hopefully we've taken care of by using the flexibility between the multifamily and, just generally calling it mixed use. We won't have to do this again, I hope. Because like you said, it does take up time and it's confusing to people.
Okay, I don't have anything else. You guys have any thoughts?
You have to open the public hearing though.
Well, I'm still talking about the commission,
Okay,
can't
okay,
they?
right.
They can comment
Okay.
before we go to a public hearing.
Right.
Okay. You guys got any thoughts on it? Yeah, it's just part of the exercise. Okay, at this point, we wanna open a public hearing. Questions from anybody in the public, anyone that's here. Anybody's got any visions for what's going on out there? So I would welcome anyone to, the podium. Is there anybody here that would like to comment one way or another? Goodness. I wish all the meetings were like this. Okay, at this point then, we're gonna close the public hearing, and, I make a motion that we approve the changes presented tonight.
I second the motion.
You good? Okay, you gonna call for a vote? Okay, please call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Passes unanimously. We want to move on to the planning director's report, and I guess that's Lynn again. Yeah,
He's
here
right
he
here.
comes.
He's been recorded.
So we have some busy folks in town. We have a number of projects that are coming through. We will be bringing forward the tax credit apartments that are on Tennyson they came through before, the tax credit portion was approved before I even came to work here in 2024. They are platting and doing a site plan for you all to see, and it appears to track that it will be on the February P&Z meeting to move forward with that project. Seven Brews has picked up their permit to build. The extended stay hotel, which I think that was all permitted for the most part, but has gone through the site approval with staff. That's about to go vertical too. We have Anderson Town Crossing that's underway, and in a pretty big way actually. We're out there today, and we're gonna have more and more projects on the other tax credit apartments on 16th Street. They're coming along real well too. So I'm working on trying to have a chance to get a map together and put it on the website so people can see which project is which and what they're supposed to be when they're finished. Some of them come through you if they aren't already platted. Some of them don't. So we have a number of those that we are working with. I will tell you that I've met with two hotels that they will be coming forward also. One of the hotels is going to be in the Anderson Town Crossing area off of Tankersley, and the other one is going to be across from the project we just talked about, off on 271. So they're all of those you will see. I doubt seriously it'll be February before you see them, because it just takes them a while to get their ducks in a row and their pieces. They'll have to have plats on both pieces of property and site plan. So at least the site plan will be needed on the project that John Anderson's doing, because that's part of the PD. You see that, and it gets approved, that specific site plan. So there's a lot of exciting development going on in town, and we get people discussing their projects to enlarge and expand and kind of build their businesses up. Several a week that are in various process. We've got a couple of they've already been platted warehouses in town that are going to be expanding. We have lots of other small projects that may or may not impact you, but we definitely have an uptick in development. So we're staying on it to try and make sure that they adhere to all of our rules and make our vitality and vibrancy not be a drain on the existing city, which is always a problem, because you want growth, but then you don't want some of the negative things that growth brings. So that's pretty much why we try and get better planning in place, and we're working on bringing forward some new zoning standards, a downtown standard that I've talked about. I'm making progress with the Main Street group. Several of the committee members and I sitting down going through trying to get a draft downtown zoning district to the point where we start having public meetings, and we'll bring that to you when we have it ready. It isn't right now. We will have, presumably we'll present the idea of having vacant building registration downtown to make sure that any buildings that are not actively for sale and are not being utilized they're registered, and there's a mechanism in place to make sure that the owners keep them up in an appropriate way, and then they have to pay a registration fee for the time that they are empty to kind of incentivize them not holding the property and having it just slowly dilapidate and go down. That would be just in that new downtown district that we're trying to work on. Working on some incentives and tax reinvestment zone and other types of incentive as policy to be able to bring some of the ability to be flexible with some of the financing that we're having discussions. We want to be competitive. We're in competition with the cities around us for some of the expansion activities that some of the retailers in particular are on the national level, although I will say, I will kind of brag on us a little bit. So the Extended Stay Hotel, I believe, probably may have gotten involved with Freeford is why they're here. But Seven Brews, Marshalls, and Ashley Furniture all found Mount Pleasant on their own, and they wanted to be here. And so if we can be, generally competitive with other cities, we stand a really good chance to get some of these more expansive choices in restaurants and retail and other services that we can bring here. And obviously we don't want to grow too fast, but we have all of our infrastructure in place, and we're working pretty hard at making sure we stay ahead of some of the pressures that come with our growth. So just want to let you know that we're working on it. Questions?
All right, does anybody have any other questions or anything at this time? If not, then I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Aye.